Okay, so this time I pray that the audio is not going to be too bad. Because personally, although I may be able to tolerate and listen to myself talk while I write what some would say nonsense on the videos or in the background of the videos, some of you might not be able to do that. I don't know, my throat woke up. It's not forced. This is not me forcing whatever. Okay, today's word of the day. Probative. Serving to test, try, or prove. Probative is an adjective. Serving to test, try, or prove. Probative. Interesting word, probative. Never have I ever, actually. I haven't seen that one in any books that I've read. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I just have to speak my mind. I'm reflecting back on previous videos where I told myself that I should continue to allow myself to pause, to allow my thoughts to fully formulate before I begin to speak, or else I begin to sound nonsensical. It goes from logical expression to emotional expression, and it's not that emotional expression is wrong. No, it's not that. But rather, it allows people to understand you on a deeper level. And that's okay personally. And I believe thank God my dictionary just flies off my dash. It's hard to let people in. Sort of fear that's inside my body. I'm pretty sure I could fit through there. However, am I going to try? Nah. There's no cars behind me. I'm not in a rush. And truthfully, so... Excuse me. This is just one lane. And it's the act that people are like, well, 2 cars can fit here, but... say something does happen, the person who is coming from a single lane into a spot where there's 2 cars in 1 lane, there's a problem. That is a problem. The sound of the freeways is relaxing. Off in the distance, just listening to it. Today I have to take my brother to tutoring and to take him to batting practice. great fun, what great fun. Person right now is writing theories and understandings of how the market may change. As today is mimicking, I wrote about it in the last video on that notepad. I didn't speak about it, and actually the description became really, really long because I'm sitting at home healing, sure. But once the healing's completed and I'm coming back into the job market and I see what's going on around the world, it's very, very interesting. It really is. How will capitalism this time adapt to what the market displays? It has survived and it has thrived. I don't know about thrive, but it survived for quite some time. Speculations that platinum will be very valuable in the future and actually might be the mineral that backs currency. Since we no longer have gold that backs it, I believe platinum would be the mineral. It was one of the minerals that JP Morgan, Chase, the bank company, was manipulating for a period of time, and they had a big fines for it. It was one of the four. It was gold, silver, platinum, and copper. And we know the US doesn't have gold, and we're finding out more and more that gold is great for electronics. And if we really want to keep on pushing the idea of having electronics around gold due to its conductivity, and people want to use it for that, what do we turn to? Not diamonds, because we can grow those. That's carbon. But platinum's a fundamental element, and it's not one that can be, at this current time, easily synthesized or created. You would have to add a proton onto iridium, or you would have to remove a proton from gold. Now, adding on a proton that's a very energy costing procedure. And to go ahead and remove a proton from gold's already valuable. So to opt to degrade gold into platinum isn't very, I don't want to say wise. Because again, there's only so much gold. Now, this idea will eventually change once actual space exploration is occurring. But at this current time, I'm not going to say we're super far from it. However, to keep ourselves grounded in reality, we have to accept the fact that the common people, like myself, I'll say, are not working towards that same common goal that Elon is. Going to space and going to different planets is a great idea. To be a part of that frontier and to go ahead and explore the cosmos sounds absolutely fabulous. However, you have a lot of the current generation not wanting to put in any type of work, not working like ants towards a common goal. This progression is heavily stunted. And so the evaluations that they place on SpaceX would be understandable in my mind if Elon and all these other companies realize that they must promote the well-being of the generation that's to come, because we're the ones that are going to be willing to do the hard work and bring in a new perspective with the internet backed behind us, as we've had so much experience with it, to push us forward, to progress us in a great direction. Again, I use these as journal documents, sort of as a diary, to convey my thoughts to the world. Because what struck my mind as I read many posts about philosophers, I can't say I studied the life of a philosopher so well that I know it like the back of my hand. But philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, Seneca, Immanuel Kant, those ones resonate. Marcus Aurelius resonated really well inside my mind. Confucius. Carl Jung, I think that's how you say it. Is it Friedrich Nietzsche? I think that's how you say his name. Frank Kafka. I have this book about Frank Kafka. Sigmund Freud, although he was a psychologist, it's still a form of philosophy to understand the human mind and the behavioral aspects that we undergo. But at a time period like that, the form of media to go ahead and preserve your ideas and to have them become sort of timeless was through physical writing and through books. And in this day and age, I believe it's coming to be words said out of my mouth in a digital recording that's posted online because it becomes an archive. where many people get to hear the words, hear the tone, hear the mannerisms, understand that every single day wasn't exactly the same. And I'm not sure, I haven't done enough research into studying a specific philosopher who documented their days. I know there was a person, I watched, it was a TED Talk, where someone studied people's diaries. And diaries are great. I've journaled myself since I was in, not middle school, high school, early high school. So, and I sit there, and those thoughts are a lot more about reflecting the actions and decisions and those things that are pent up inside that I wish to speak about. And this, rather, is both the emotional and logical expression of what's occurring inside my mind. My generation is willing to work, but they're not willing to stick to what the standard was or / is, because it no longer reflects the current amount of wealth that's inside the market. After so much money, the money isn't doing anything else really for you. You might say it's sort of a security, it's sort of a comfort of mind, but it's like food. You can only have so much of it available to you. Even having the option of other foods inside your house may sound appealing. However, you can't eat all that food, and if you do eat all that food, you become big, you become bloated, and it begins to weigh you down. And I would like to say money is very similar to that. It is good to have an abundance of money. I'm not saying that money is inherently bad. Hell, money doesn't care about your emotions. It just is. It is the idea that we have built around it because it's been shoved down our... Now, I'm not even going to say throats. People always say shove down your throats. But rather, shown to our eyes repeatedly. Almost like sitting in one of those chairs strapped with our eyeballs spread open. Like Robot Chicken. And we have this idea with it. Also, great show, Robot Chicken. I think Seth Green, you're an amazing person. By the way, I was scared as shit as a kid when I would watch that as Adult Swim late at night. You know, watch King of the Hill, and then suddenly you get Robot Chicken, and you're like, holy cow. But it really shaped a lot of my character, because it plays into the fact that we should question certain things. Like, why is it this way? Great. It truly is great. Okay, well, yeah, I'm only 22, but I also understand that there's many other 22-year-olds who are doing grand things, and maybe my grand thing is actually speaking the truth that I feel within myself. Or rather, let me say it like this and spin it like this, because people might say it's not truth because it's not absolute. But rather, speaking what I see from my perspective. We all come with different sets of perspectives, and the more we speak about them and people are able to go ahead and open-mindedly take in information and see commonalities, getting to the truth becomes a little bit more linear. Okay, thank you for listening. Hopefully the audio this time isn't as staticky. See ya. Mwah. This whole entire time it hasn't been recording. Wow, I left my mic on mute. Today's word of the day is oaf. A stupid or clumsy person. Alrighty. Funny enough, since my mic was muted, I'm actually an oaf. Wait. Oh, that's so good. The jokes write themselves. Alright, but I was sorry, not for the This morning's talking point is regarding a book I picked up yesterday that my dad had lying around that he gets from one of the managers at his work. Now, let me give some context, because the way that this book lies in my house, I would say it's almost destined that it was in my house, because my dad is a mechanic or a technician. And to have these growth books, like self-help, self-growth books lying around that the manager gives to these employees is just really coincidental is the word I want to use here. I was given my first ever self-help book by my dad when I was in middle school. I was in the 8th grade. I had started off, and my dad was out at school, and he was gifted a book, and it still lies as probably my favorite book. And it was as a joke. It was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And it was genuinely was a joke. He's like, hey, you should read this. You don't have friends. Like, what are you doing? And that, genuinely, because at that time, and actually still very much now, I am not very social. I don't have many friends. I have to be completely honest here. I would love to have friends, and that's why I'm doing a lot of this self-discovery to know exactly who I am, instead of just trying to push into a group that has morals that more or less don't fit my vibe or my moral compass. But the people around you don't define you. You define yourself. I understand that you can be a product of your environment, surely, but when your awareness begins to show, and your awareness, let me phrase it like this. When your awareness develops within yourself, what are we waiting? Oh, it's like, when your awareness begins to develop that you can be something other than a product of your environment, I really lost the point. That car was like stopped at a green light. I thought there was a person crossing. There was no person crossing. It really threw me off. Regardless, the book I'm reading is called It Takes What It Takes by the son of Bob Mawad. Can't recall his name, but he's a best friend of Russell Wilson, as he has helped plan and mentally planned, really, a lot of what Russell would do coming into football seasons, how he approached his craft, and a lot of the mental work that Russell wanted to reinforce. I'm not fully done through the book. I'm about 77 pages through it. I picked it up yesterday. I'm not the fastest reader. I average about 20 pages per hour. I like to take my time to underline and really think through what is being told in each of these segments and what I really should be extracting from each of the examples provided. It takes what it takes. There's the illusion of choice. None of this is my own stuff. This is all coming from this book. Yeah, the illusion of choice. It reminds me that in order for me to lose weight, I don't got a choice but to give up the sweets that I snack on, that I still snack on now. And I have to take in other knowledge and perspectives that if I want to do it for myself, you'll do it slowly. If you want it fast, you'll do it for others. And I know that I'm allowing myself to eat these damn Oreos because I'm doing this journey of weight loss and fitness for myself, that I am okay with taking the blows of those Oreos, because I went to the gym. I showed up. I'm not cutting weight immediately for some boxing match. I don't box. For wrestling or anything like that. I'm not at a life-threatening point. I'm not at a life-threatening point where I need to go ahead and start cutting and losing weight. So I allow myself to eat Oreos. However, I know consciously afterwards, the thoughts I have, the guilt that I feel after I eat the Oreos, lets me know that my body is geared towards something bigger, and my mind is geared towards something bigger. And I have to be honest with myself that eating these Oreos is not contributing to a larger goal that I have set for myself, and that's to live a longer life. I get it. Many people will say, tomorrow's not promised. I understand that every single day I should be living for right now. Again, this concept is what reinforces and allows the eating habit of the Oreos. That's the mental work that's occurring. I'm grateful for today. I appreciate today a ton, but I have to understand that I still need to plan for tomorrow. And I also began to take in the idea of how I mindlessly scroll on social media as sort of this reset buffer between different tasks. I understand that not every minute of your life has to be focused on efficiency. It does not need to be this grind mindset through and through, because time and time again I see people talk about how they wish they didn't work as hard to get to where they got, because in that they didn't spend time with other people, they lost connections with people. And to be frank, I don't have many connections right now, and so maybe with that I should be grinding harder. It's like I don't have an excuse. And so I sit through more of it, and I'm planning out more, and that's what this book is teaching me. I sort of have stripped away a lot of things. When I broke the bone that sent me back home to my parents, especially when I felt like I was getting my footing in my, adult life, got my first job after college, although it's not paying me what I thought I'd be getting paid. I budgeted myself to make sure I would go ahead and still have enough for the next place when I get the security deposit, and we'll just grind and work hard from here. And I got a broken bone, and it threw me in a different direction, and that's okay, because I believe it was more this eye-opening, hey, you're settling for less than what you know you have room to do. And sometimes, even when you want to be comfortable in the world has other plans for you that reminds you of your capabilities and natural talent that you have. And that book allowed me to learn that and be reminded of that there's innate things that you are good at, that you have already within you. And for the author of the book and his dad, the way that he conditioned him and grew him up to be, it was mindset, which really led to him being this mental conditioning coach for a lot of football teams, basketball teams, tennis players. So I'm sitting with myself and reminding myself, like, what do I have naturally that comes to me? No, I want the other person's to be honest. I don't want that one. I want this one. Did you really park like? I did. Because I care about where I park. Okay. The book's great. The book is great. And honestly, the slogan itself is one of those that's just, the author says it's just so plain, he gets to the point, it takes what it takes. There's not really a choice to get to where you want to be. To be a great, your mind knows more or less what you should be doing to get there. And there's another quote where, as long as you keep giving it your all, the universe will send you unknown allies to continue to push you in that direction. It'd be impatient for me to say, please, unknown allies, come and show right now. But I believe at this current time, when I've been stripped of a lot of my, what I thought was foundation, and am relearning a lot about myself, and discovering a lot about myself, it is a trial to see how bad do I actually want it. And is it, well, what do you want? And that's what I was realizing. It's like setting goals. And a goal for myself really is to get physically fit. And when I mean physically fit, I mean leaned out. Not muscle, like super big bodybuilding, but rather leaned out. No? Dad texted me. Hold on, I gotta check this. How long are you gonna be at the gym today? I need to move the Accord. I just got here. Well, maybe I'll just go home. Maybe I'm meant to come to the gym at a later time. Whew. Or maybe my body's telling me to rest. I feel a little bit, but I'm not gonna get out the car until it responds. Because frankly, it's crazy. I'll make another point that the book the book talks about. And it's the atmosphere in where you go ahead and accomplish your goals. I think currently at this time, I think it's very important. If I plan to be someone great, I have to go ahead and give the story really clearly for historians and people looking back. But at this time, I'm 22. I'm currently sleeping on the couch and have been for the last almost 3 months at my parents' house with my, computer set up right next to the couch and my first ever car holding a lot of the stuff on the inside, all my other stuff from my place being put inside bins, sitting around the house. Having a space to do your craft is important, very important. And even if it's just lighting a candle and doing it there, that is what it is. Nah, you're good. Fernelli's picking up that Jeep engine. Okay. Is it because I didn't want to move your car and leave the key in the ignition? You're going to do it without moving your car? You know what's crazy? Is you tell them how to take it out of the ignition, and they go like, nah. I can't do that. But then, okay, maybe I'm speaking out of emotions here. I'm not gonna finish that comment. But I believe something as easy as taking a key out of a car ignition is fine. It's a physical thing. But holy cow. Oh god, I have to even go home earlier too because, well, no, not really. I leave at 9:30. I'm here a lot later. This one's sloppy. This one's messy. And if anything, it really depicts in real time what I was going to make a point of. But it's a lot of my mental work that needs to be done. A lot of my own. Thank you for listening. Mwah.